Hi, I'm the lone journalist for KRAZ-TV. More book reviews, and this one has to go to the adult side, the Zero Channel. Yep. Rickey and Robinson. The true, untold story of the integration of baseball. And of course it's by Roger Kahn. Well, Roger Kahn, the author of 20 books and hundreds of articles for newspapers and national magazines, is widely regarded as America's greatest living sports writer. His 72 classics, The Boys of Spring, was named in the best baseball book of all time by the editors of Sports Illustrated, and his 93 book, The Era, was nominated for Pulitzer Prize. 5 times his magazine writing was awarded the prestigious E.P. Dutton Prize. Kahn joined the staff of the New York Herald Tribune as a copy boy in 1948 and rose quickly to the position of baseball writer, taking over the Dodgers beat in 1952. He later served as sports editor of Newsweek, the editor-at-large of the Saturday Evening Post, and a columnist for Esquire. Kahn has taught writing at various colleges and lectured at Yale, Princeton, and Columbia universities. He's held the distinguished position of Ottawa Professor of Journalism at the State University of New York, New Plotzk, in the spring of 2014. And in 2006 was indicted into the National Jewish Sports Hall of Fame. A native of Brooklyn, he now makes his home in Stone Ridge, New York, with his wife, Catherine. I've got to tell you, you'll really want honesty. You're probably going to have to get a good Jewish author. I hope he takes to that and has a laugh with me over that. But he knew Jackie Robinson. He really knew. Now, the guy next to him was a Methodist. His name was Branch Rickey. He was president. I don't think he was the owner of the sports, but he mined, M-I-N-E-D, all the 25 minor leagues, including the Negro leagues, and got the people into big ball, and he always made sure he made a little money on it, but he wouldn't pay a whole lot. In fact, his derogatory term was called El Cheapo. Well, El Cheapo turned the tables on him eventually. I got to tell you, the true story of baseball was always integrated. Now, at first, there was no Jim Crow in baseball. But people thought, and people will get away with what they think they can get away with. So it didn't care whether you were northern states, southern states, they just didn't want that black bastard playing, is what they said. And other derogatory terms. And that's why, if I have to read something with the N-word in it that cannot be, it's on the adult side and you'll understand. And I, as a journalist, don't kill the messenger because I'm reading out of somebody's great book. Where to start, huh? In Rickey and Robinson, legendary sports writer Roger Kahn at last reveals the true unsanitized, account of the integration of baseball, a story that for decades has relied largely on inaccurate secondhand reports. Kahn's telling, however, contains exclusive reporting and personal reminiscences that no other writer can produce, including revelatory material he buried in his notebooks in the 40s and 50s, back when sports writing was still known to protect players and baseball executives. First and foremost, Kahn's account centers around an in-depth examination of the two men chiefly responsible for making integration happen, Branch Rickey and Jackie Robinson. Considering Robinson's exalted place in American culture, the book's eye-opening revelations are sure to generate controversy as well as conversation. No other sports writer working today carries Kahn's authority when writing about this period in baseball history, and the publication of this book, Kahn's Last, is a true literary event. In Rickey and Robinson, Kahn separates the fact from myth to present a truthful portrait of baseball and its participants in a critical juncture in American history. Amazingly enough, there's not a picture in this book. Well, it's all right, I guess, you know. But he really goes back and even tells the stories of how the 1919 White Sox threw the game, the gambling problems, how teams worked, where Brooklyn Dodgers, Ebbets Field. So it's really amazing. So it really happened, and in the back of the book, with next to the index about the author, of course, is the afterword by Grand Larceny. It says, well, I'll read you the last bit here in a minute, but there was a chronological list of steals of home by Jackie Robinson. Now he stole bases famously. And you know, at his first time up at bat, when he was finally inducted and played for the Dodgers. Now he played for the Montreal Royals and just, you know, won a lot of games with them. But anyway, with the Dodgers, everybody wanted to see him fail, and the guys were telling him strike out and hollering and cursing and, you know, derogatory crap. But anyways, he was thrown out on his first rotation up to bat. But that second time, baby, he pulled in a three-run homer. And after that, people wanted to shake his hand then. And when he did catch hell, there's Pee Wee Reese went up and put it, and they were giving him crap on the field. He went and put his arm around his pal, and they said, he's my friend. And after that, they said that the ice was broken. You know, well, at least for the team. Now, I'm going to read this fact here, but when they rode the trains, they were integrated. I mean, the blacks could sit with the whites and all this stuff in the club cars, and with the ball clubs, you know, movements. The minute they stepped off that train, Jackie had to go to somebody that would put him up, you know, like a prominent lawyer or doctor, somebody that wanted to you know, give Jackie a nice place to stay. Sometimes he had flea-bitten hotels, and after he was married, he was shucked around to where his wife had to live with him in a small one-room hotel, and then they had a Jackie Jr., and so the baby was, well, they had to hang diapers up in strings across in the apartment to dry and stuff like that. So anyways, 1947, 6/24/47, opposing pitcher was Ostermuller and Fritz, and inning 5 at Pittsburgh. He stole his very first home base. So that constitutes another a run, you know. He maybe didn't get to home base at all the times when he stole the other base, but these are the ones where he actually scored the win. And the last one, well, there's one in 1949 and playing the Cincinnati Reds, and inning 2 in Brooklyn. And then his last one was 4/25/56. Again, opposing pitcher was Jim Hearn, New York Giants. He was in New York in inning 2. So he's really prolific. Now, they also have other pioneers that Roger Kahn has written about, but Jackie Robinson was the first. It says the following first black players signed in the major league, signed in chronological order by the date of their debut and by team. Daggers indicate eventual election to the Baseball Hall of Fame. That's Cooperstown, New York. I am certain each man has or would have had an interesting story to relate. So he wished he could have wrote more, but, you know, he had to start with Jackie. And he knew Jackie. So Jackie was the very first. on April the 15th, 1947, to the Brooklyn Dodgers. The next person was Larry Doby, Cleveland Indians, American League. The other was the National League, and he was July the 5th, 1947. The Indians really showed guts and said, no, we're going to have a black player too. And so they opened up, and they were the most amiable. And it just so happens that a good personal friend of mine who taught me plumbing was a Cleveland Indian pitcher in 1969. His name was Jimmy Hobgood, and he pitched right here in Tucson during the winter time and stuff. And he was voted a Rookie of the Year, I think. 2 years later, though, he'd blown his shoulder out, and they retired him at $120 a month. But anyways, it just goes down here. Hank Thompson was July the 17th. 12 days later, the St. Louis Browns. And the Giants, no, Monty Irvin was the Giants, and then Hank Thompson was Giants July the 8th. So, I guess St. Louis Browns in Atlantic, then why did it show Thompson here being in the Giants in the National League? Really weird, but that's the story. Minnie Mafioso, White Sox, Bob Treese, Philadelphia Athletics in 1953. It took them, 5 more years? Yeah. Ernie Banks, Chicago Cubs in 1953, and Kurt Roberts in 1954 for the Pirates. Tom Alston, Cardinals. Nino Escalera, Cincinnati Reds on the 17th, and Hank Harmon on the 17th, Cincinnati Reds. Carlos Paula, 54. And Pumpsy Green, well, there's John Kennedy in the Phillies and Ozzie Virgil Sr. And Pumpsy Green, 1959, 12 years after Jackie was and brought on into and helped integrate, the Boston Red Sox picked up Pumpsy Green. So it's an amazing story. It's just wonderful. I'm going on about this because I'm reading some facts out of here, and Rickey was a Methodist, and he never drank. I don't know if they cussed, but they smoked cigars and this and that. So it says, what his personal notes is, my friendships with Jackie Robinson and Branch Rickey date from that period of 1940s, 52 and all that. Talk about during those friendships was a valuable source for this book. So the sad thing is Jackie had contracted, diabetes, and so they got rid of him in 57. But it says Jackie Robinson's candle burned briefly, blinded and partially crippled by diabetes. He died in October 1972 at the age of 53. Can you imagine that? He was inducted when he was 30 years old. And it says Branch Rickey lived to be 30 years older. So he was 83. Rickey died in 1965 after suffering a stroke while orating in Columbia, Missouri. So he was up there talking all the way to the end. Walter O'Malley, Rickey's most devious man, plotted, schemed, and insinuated to drive Rickey out of Brooklyn. Rickey had continued to cut himself in on the receipts. That's what they were mad about, is he figured out how to make a good, solid contract, and they had to pay him off. And so he had to pay out $1,050,000. He said now it would sell provided he could match the highest outside offer Rickey could find. And he told him he thought stock was worth $250,000, but Rickey produced a bid from William Zuckendorf, an early version of Donald Trump, for nothing less than a cool $1 million. So he had to pay $1 million, $1,050,000. Yeah, $1,050,000. And so anybody at the Dodgers office then after that who mentioned his name were fined $1. So, let's have shades of. But since Rickey had signed Duke Schneider, Carl Erickson, Jackie Robinson, and the rest, you could never make him a non-person in Brooklyn. Then they moved out to L.A., and that was another story in itself. But it's such a wonderful book. And, well, you'll just have to read the book, because I could go into a lot of controversy and cite a situation that actually the two white management people saw him do in an early morning coming out of a hotel room, that they said Jackie's got to go, and so it was contrived and thrown him out. But he had a great career, and everybody loved him, and I still love him, and I love the story, and I love Roger Kahn. And he said, what really, in his idea, he thought, this is my final parting quote, is that the reason why integration actually came on faster was because of the Holocaust after World War II. So there's a lot of faces to bigotry, but get the book, and it's called Rickey and Robinson, The True Untold Story of the Integration of Baseball. We got it at our library like you can yours. Thanks for watching, and yes, it's by Roger Kahn. Goodbye, and kudos to all of you.